If we are going to preserve Virginia's position as a global economic leader, we must open up new avenues for growth that are not dependent on federal government spending. To sum it up, we must build a new Virginia economy.
For the first time in a half century, Virginia is trailing the nation in economic recovery and job creation. We currently rank 48th among the states in economic growth. Steep cutbacks in federal funding for defense and other programs have exposed our overdependence on public sector and government contractor jobs.
13 of the top 20 employers are in the public sector.
It's great that we have the defense resources and assets that we have, but we need to look to the future. We need to look to the possibility of more sequestration.
The only solution is for the state to provide a meaningful financial incentive that would motivate the localities, private business, and all education to work together to help the economies in every region.
We need to diversify our economy away from federal dependence, and we need to figure out the right solution for each region.
It's the region. That's the organizing unit for the economy. And those regions that get that are the ones that are best positioned.
The one thing that we really learned from the blueprint exercise was that it really is working at the community level, and I think Go Virginia really dovetails nicely with that.
While the initiative for private sector growth must come from within each region, the Commonwealth does have a vital role to play.
The state could accomplish a lot by providing seed money for strategic innovation in each of our regions.
We get approached with a lot of different programs. This one intrigues us because I think the localities will basically feel like this is something that the state thinks is important, but we have a stake in it also.
The business community is certainly has got to lead the effort together with local governments, but higher ed is so important in the equation.
We have really an obligation to develop the economy and be catalysts in this area, and we're taking that seriously.
Growing the private sector in each region will require literally tens of thousands of workers with industry-recognized credentials. We need to work together to invest in workforce training that meets the demand in the private sector.
The state's economic development resources should be used to encourage and reward those communities that get smart about economic development.
When one locality actually takes a business from another locality, it actually hurts the economy.
A real attraction to a company, because they know how unique it is for a large area to say we are one and we're working together on certain programs.
What we're about is, end of the day, creating more jobs, higher paying jobs, jobs that will sustain our economy and get us back to our position of the best state to do business in.
If localities work together, they can deliver services more efficiently and realize savings. Every dollar saved is a dollar that doesn't have to be raised in new taxes.
You could look in our state at what we did with regional jails as a prime example of how that can work.
All too often, various local governments have not cooperated at the level that we need now. I think what the state can do is provide the incentives for them to do this. It won't be mandates.
Mandates do not work very well. I mean, this country was formed on entrepreneurial spirit and self-initiative, and I think that that's what we ought to continue to foster.
The state should encourage inventions and discoveries by providing matching fund support for labs, equipment, and other research-related needs.
I don't know that there has ever been a time that was more important for universities, research universities in particular, to be committed to economic development.
So I see higher ed, our research institutions playing a vital part in working with, quote unquote, the new economy.
It's going to be how well our research institutions like Virginia Tech partner with the private sector, and I think the state does have a role in being a catalyst for that kind of interaction.
One thing that is particularly exciting to me is trying to leverage the intellectual property that we're generating every day on college campuses.
The state has to be strategic in its infrastructure investments. The focus should be on capital projects of regional significance
It can be difficult for localities in rural areas to tackle large projects alone. One example of that is broadband. Go Virginia presents a unique opportunity for rural Virginia to scale solutions that we already know work in our communities.
I think the state can obviously incentivize a lot of these bottom-up practices. We can make this a long-term sustainable program. And I think it's also important to make sure that we repurpose some money. And the beauty of this program is, which I've not seen in other programs, is the regions are helping developing, whether it be governmental or the colleges and business, they're helping develop the best strategies. They know what's best for their region.
The carrot has to be big enough so that everybody will come to the table and no one will be able to walk away.
Having a reliable state partner is something that will ensure success. We're all in.
That's, for me, what's exciting about Go Virginia, is it provides additional tools and additional partners for us to work with to get this job done.
That's why I'm very optimistic about some successes, but it is going to take some time and some determination.
You have to set in place the kinds of foundation pieces that are necessary. We're fortunate in Go Virginia that business leaders are at the table at the beginning.
They're in it for the long run. It's one of the most selfless things I've seen in my 24 years in the Senate.
This is not a sprint. This is going to be a marathon. This will be a long-term process.
If we can get regions to cooperate as a matter of course, nothing will hold Virginia back.